Hi, I heard you were depressed. The people who care about you, they called me to help. Open the door now. The fucking clinic is here to check on you. Open the door or I'm coming back with a sledgehammer. Did you think I was kidding? Are you recording this? Give me your phone. Does that sound fucking terrifying? Well, it should. On August 27th of this year, in the Saskatchewan town of Stanley Mills, a Cree man's mother-in-law called the police for a mental health wellness check on him. And what I said was word for word what the cops said. Axe included.
Open the door!
I'm not doing
Open the door now! The clinic is here to check on you. Open the door, I'm coming back with a sledgehammer.
I'll open the door when the clinic comes here.
You think I was kidding?
I was waiting for the clinic. I'd open the door for the clinic, not for you. And trying to punch my window? Trying to punch a window down?
Excuse me.
The only part that wasn't word for word was the part about the phone, which he didn't say, he just grabbed this man's phone because he was recording. You know, in his own house, when a police officer tried to break in the window and brought an axe in. The man was fine, by the way. He could see him through the window, and apart from the man banging on his window and brandishing an axe demanding to be let in, he wasn't in any danger. This situation is horrible, terrifying, and enraging. But unfortunately, I need to communicate that this is not the worst way that it could have gone. There have been at least 5 Canadians shot to death by cops on mental health wellness checks since April. Every single one of them has been either black, indigenous, or a person of color. Cops say, in some of these cases, that people were violent, and there seems to be a recurring theme of knives. Even in the case of 62-year-old man Ijaz Chowdhury, whose family called for a wellness check. They asked to go in with the cops so that he would have a familiar face to latch onto. The cops refused. They used a ladder to get to the balcony and entered through that way, and then they shot him to death. You may remember, just days after George Floyd was killed by US police officers, Toronto police officers showed up at the apartment of Regis Korchinski-Paquet. Shortly after, she was found dead on the ground after having fallen from her balcony. Let's look at this through the lens of the best case scenario. Days after George Floyd was killed by cops, on camera, these Toronto police officers allowed this black woman alone on a balcony in a mental health crisis surrounded by 6 cops. Again, I need to stress, this is the best case scenario. The Special Investigation Unit looked into this and cleared all 6 officers of wrongdoing. For those who don't know, the SIU is a civilian oversight committee that looks into police complaints in Canada. You may say that sounds good. But police officers are not required to cooperate with the SIU on any case, and they face no penalties if they don't. Now, in the case of Korchinski-Paquet, all 6 officers that were on the scene agreed to be interviewed. However, there were things that they left out. A prior injury in the form of a bruise on her arm before her fall, and possible indications of strangling, though nothing confirmed yet. This leads me to say this: never call the police in a mental health crisis scenario. I understand the urge to do so, and I've even done it at some point in my life, but at this point, it's clear that the risk is too great, and it's not worth it. While I also want to communicate this, I do want to make it clear, in no uncertain terms, that you are not a bad person for making a mental health wellness check through the police. You are not at fault for whatever police do on a mental health check. The responsibility lies with the system that sends armed thugs to people in mental health crisis. The system that solves problems with violence because that's the backup response for what police officers do. The responsibility falls with the fucking cops who kill people while they're at the lowest point in their lives simply because they didn't want to do anything else. They are the killers, not you. And it's not your fault that you were raised in a system that told you that calling the cops on everything was the right thing to do. If you do this with the intent to kill somebody, obviously fuck off and die. I don't want to hear from you. But I assume that most wellness checks are made by people who care about their loved ones and the community. So what do? If you can't call the cops, how can you help? It can be scary. We're living in a world where the cops' role in systemic oppression and racism is more clear and harder to ignore than ever before. But you can help. I will list resources down in the description that may help you deal with people in mental health crises. The best and most efficient way to handle this is to take a de-escalation training course, like mental health first aid, and suicide prevention courses if any are available in your area. If these are not available, a good start is the Fireweed Collective's Crisis Toolkit. I will link all of these in the description. But we can't just do this alone. We also have to campaign collectively so that we can institute a policy of a mental health emergency line that handles things without going through the police. I will also link some of these initiatives down below. Please, learn about mental health, provide resources, be understanding, and most of all, look out for each other. I can't believe I even need to say this, but the last thing you need when you're going through a mental breakdown is a group of sadists trying to break down your door to point fucking weapons at you.